Welcome to another episode of Coach's Corner. Today we have rising prospect, 9-0 fighter out of Yonkers, New York, Iman Lee. Welcome, Iman. Appreciate you coming on here today. Real excited to have you here today. You're definitely one of the up-and-comers in the game right now. A lot of people maybe don't know who you are today, but in another couple of fights, you're going to be a household name. Recently, you just signed with CES Promotions. Congratulations. Right now, you have two dates that you're looking at to fight, May 11th and June 15th. May 11th in Twin Rivers Casino and Bally's in Providence, and then June 15th, Mohegan Sun. Yeah. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you coming on again, and let's get into it a little bit here right now. All right?
Thank you for having me, Coach.
You're welcome, sir. So tell us a little bit about your beginning in boxing. I know a little bit about you from you being in the gym and your dad, and, your dad was definitely had a good boxing pedigree, and your grandfather, guys coming out, your brother also coming out of a family of fighters. I know you worked in Yonkers, PAL with Sal Correnti, and, obviously now your dad is taking over the reins of guiding your career. What brought you to the sport of boxing?
Pretty much just a family thing. Pretty much my dad. My dad, when he was fighting, he always had us in the gym. We always been around. And then as soon as we came of age, he just put us right in.
I mean, when you first got involved in the sport, did you think that you were going to compete as a young man? Was that the goal, or was it just like, I want to be in the gym with Dad? And, your grandfather, I know, is very active in your career also. When did the bug kind of hit you to say, hey, I can do this, I can compete, or I want to compete as a young man?
Yeah, at first it was pretty much just wanting to be in the gym with my dad and always watching and always being around. And then I'd probably say when we started to win, like once he put us in tournaments and we started to win, and then we got to travel, it was like, all right, this is what I wanted to do.
Well, how old were you in your first fight as an amateur?
I think I was around 13, 14, I believe.
So Dad held you back a little bit. You weren't one of those guys that at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, he waited a little bit for you to before. And I know where you came out of in that area, and a lot of good fighters, obviously, in that tri-state area, Yonkers, close to the city, Bronx. Where was your first fight? Was it a PAL?
Nah, the first fight was, I believe it was in Brooklyn.
Okay.
I think it was the New York tournament. I think it was the first fight.
Metros?
Yeah, Metros.
You fought in the Metro. So
yeah.
Dad threw you in pretty hot and heavy the first one.
Yeah, we fought Novins the first two fights in that tournament. I won the first one, lost the second one. Right after the second one, we went open.
Wow. How many amateur fights did you end up having?
Lost count. A lot. Probably about 80, 70.
Wow. How old are you now?
24.
Damn. So you kind of fast-tracked it, and I know as an amateur, you were in there with a lot of top-level amateurs from not only the tri-state area, but from, around the country and everything. And, obviously been working with a lot of different people. How did you stay focused as an amateur and say, okay, now, you're in the game a little bit here, right? And, obviously you're going to school. You're trying to train. Did you know it was just boxing? Or did you say, hey, maybe I want to try another sport? Or did you play another sport while you were, training or while you were in school?
Well, I always tried to play other sports, but it never really worked out because boxing is an all-year sport.
Right.
So when basketball season came up, I wanted to play basketball. I couldn't because I had other boxing tournaments. And then when football season came around, it was the same thing. Track, it was the same thing. So I had put those sports aside and just focused primarily on boxing.
Did you find it difficult to maintain? Because in today's day and age, it at any level of boxing, it's a hard grind. It does take a toll on you. As a young man, how did you keep focus? And you know, obviously 80 amateur fights, you're active almost every weekend till now.
Yeah.
How-
Pretty much dad, pretty much him always talking to us, him always having us in the gym, pretty much telling us to sacrifice certain things to get to where we need to, and pretty much just kept us focused on boxing, pretty much doing what we had to in that.
Right. Now, throughout your amateur career, gloves and everything else, and you know, tournaments, you're out there, a lot of talent in your weight division. You know, 125 to 130, there's a lot of talent out there right now. You've seen some great fighters out there and been with them. How do you feel you kind of, you know, match up to them? And, you know, I know you a little from coming in the gym, and you're a very humble, hardworking young man. You know, you're not a big flash. You're not all over social media. You're not talking it up like some of these other guys. You know, do you feel that maybe you got overlooked a little bit as an amateur?
Not really, because I know throughout the New York area, pretty much everyone knew us, and
Right.
a lot of guys.
The hardcore boxing people know who you are because you're out there in the main gyms. You know, you're out in Brooklyn, you're out in Cops and Kids, you're in the Bronx, Jersey. I know your dad's taking you wherever the game is. But, you know, there are a lot of other names out there that people, you know, the real boxing fans will know you, but outside of that, you're not a household name yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Soon to be.
Soon, in due time.
Soon to be.
In due
But how'd you deal with that? Because I know some of the guys you fought, and, you know, we've talked about this, and I know how you fared. Do you feel that you always had something to prove?
I've always felt that and always knew that we were like the underdogs when we faced certain guys. So then coming in and fighting those guys, we just was stick to the game plan, do what we need to do, and we should come out victorious at the end of the day.
So, I mean, now, you know, you're a professional. 9-0, 9 fights. You know, you're moving. You're on the way up. But I think people don't realize you're working a full-time job still, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, your training is very rigorous right now. You're getting ready to fight. How do you balance it?
Just got to do what I got to do. Just bust it out. So I'm working all day and then going to the gym, working what we need to do. And then right after the gym, I'm going back to the gym for wellness and recovery.
Right.
I just keep going. That's it.
Do you feel it's taking a toll on you right now on your body because of the way the game is starting to evolve for you as you move now? Is this a long-term thing, do you think? How long do you think you can keep working and fighting at this level?
We could keep going for as long as we see fit, to be honest. As long as I keep taking care of my body, eating the right foods, and doing wellness and recovery, I think we should be good in the long run.
Kind of walk us through your day-to-day right now. Tell people, like, you know, people see, they always see the fighters. They always see, hey, they don't realize the backstory of a fighter. They don't realize, you know, fighters on the up-and-coming, carrying jobs, odd jobs, whatever it is that they got to do to provide for themselves and their families. And they don't see, you know, the hard work that gets put into. You're preparing for a fight right now. Walk us through to your day-to-day right now.
So pretty much, if I'm not running in the morning, then I'm running at night. But if I'm running in the morning, I'll probably wake up at 7, run my 5 to 6 miles, then come back home, eat breakfast, then get ready to work at 9, and then I'm working from 9 to 6. And after 9 to 6, I'm in the gym at Champs in New Row from 6:30 to 9 to closing their time.
Right.
And then once we get out of that gym, I'm at another gym called Level from about 9, 10-ish to 10 o'clock to the closing time.
So you're doing your conditioning and everything and your recovery right after after you box and after you do your technique, or if you're sparring or whatever it is, right then and there.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, it's got to wear on you some days. I mean, You know, working a full-time job alone is tough, but you're pulling double duty. Mentally, how do you stay in the game? How do you motivate yourself? Because listen, every fighter, we know it. You know, you live the life. I've been around it. There are days you're going to say, man, I don't want to get out of fucking bed today. I don't want to run. I don't want to go to work today. I want to take a day off. My body's beat up. It's been a hard camp. But, you know, you're pulling double duty. How are you motivating yourself?
Yeah, some days are harder than others. I just keep it in my mind that to sacrifice and soon enough it will pay off and we will get to where we need to. And I just keep one step at a time. I just say one step at a time and just keep going.
Right, right. Your dad obviously has played a big part on your career. And, you know, I know him, great coach. I've seen him mess around in the ring. I never saw him fight, heard some of it. Is his style the style you emulate, or is the style that you've been incorporating into your game? Or tell us a little bit about what's your style. You know, if we're going to go to the fight and we're going to see Iman Lee fight, what kind of style do you bring to it?
It pretty much all depends as well as far as the opponent, because styles make fights. So if I got an opponent trying to just come at me, I pretty much just box them and withstand a storm to a certain amount of time, and then I'll just start to pick it up round by round. I pretty much implement his style in certain ways. I feel like me and my brother, we have like half of what he has. So
right.
I have one half, and then he has like the other half. So
I've seen that in father-son combinations, obviously with the Feliz brothers and their dad. I can see both of them in him. Obviously, I work with him and both of them at times. So, you know, father-son combinations. You know, some get along, some don't. Is it a tough combination for you and your dad? Because he's pulling a double duty now. He's not only your coach, he's dad also. So, you know, he's got to prepare you as a coach, but he's also in the back of the mind, you're his son. How do you guys mesh? You know, I've watched you, but is it a conflict at times? Is it, you know?
Yeah, I feel like if there's always going to be some type of conflict at times, and you guys are going to bump heads and not think on the same page. But for the most part, I feel like we click in a lot of areas, and then where we don't, I just try to fix and improve on those areas and try to just listen, and then also give feedback to an extent, and then still kind of gather that information.
Yeah, I think, you know what, the feedback part is where the father-son conflict comes in. And as a coach, I like my fighters to give feedback. I like at the end of the day, look, we could agree to disagree as coaches and fighters. At the end of the day, you're the fighter. You got to get in there and do the job, and you got to be able to tell what's working and what's not. I mean, we could work on a plan coming up to a fight, and that plan, you come back to the corner and say, hey, coach, I don't see what we've been working on. It's not there. Okay? Okay, let's make an adjustment. You know, some coaches won't. Some coaches say, no, stay to the plan. But I like fighters to give feedback. I mean, with your team, a lot of experience there. How's your feedback now being taken as you're moving now? You're not a 1-0 fighter. You're 9 fights in already into this game. I mean, within the next year, you might be at 15 fights. So how is that with your team? Are you guys sitting down at the end of the week and saying, hey, we need to work on this, or I see this, or, you know what, guys, I'm not feeling that. You know, I feel that I need to work on this. Where are you the main voice there?
It's pretty much like day by day. Day by day, we pretty much give each other feedback. If I feel like something's uncomfortable, I'll let him know, but I'll still try to work on whatever it is that he wants me to work on. That way, because he sees a lot of things that I don't see, and
right.
I won't know. So at the end of the day, I know he wouldn't steer me in the wrong direction.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I'm just continue to listen to him.
Right. But, obviously, you getting in there, your eyes, even though he sees things from the outside, your eyes are seeing there.
Mm-hmm.
Your eyes are telling different sometimes, and your feelings of what might work and what might not is a big part of it. Now, you, your brother, your dad, is there a lot of competition there? Now, I know your younger brother's a pretty good fighter, too.
Yeah, my younger brother's really good. He's really good. I feel like there's competition to an extent. I like how when we're in the gym, it's like we bring each other up, and we're always trying to make each other better, and we're always trying to be better than each other, which makes us get better in the long run as each individual. So I feel like we're always competing in anything that we do.
Do you feel you need to be that competition to be better than maybe your brother and your dad drives you a little bit?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely.
Interesting. So let's segue a little bit to now your upcoming stuff as a professional. What do you think you're looking to do in the future here? What is your game plan now?
Pretty much stay busy, get in the ring as much as I can, take as many opportunities as I can, keep playing my part and just keep fighting. That's the plan. Some
of the names out there that you'd like to see
in the ring with me.
Yeah,
against
everyone. If we had to throw a pin at names on the board, who are you throwing a pin at? The first one.
I don't know. It's a lot of names. It's a lot of guys up there. I see myself fighting in the near future.
Now you worked with a lot of big guys already. Now you work with Bruce Carrington.
Yeah, I could definitely.
You
see
work with Lil B Hop.
Mm-hmm.
All the guys from Brooklyn and around the way that have been up in the ranks a little bit. You've sparred with pretty much anybody that's around here that's going to give you work.
Yeah.
I know you guys go to work. I mean, how do you rate yourself in the ring with those guys? Now, they're fighting a little more right now, but and people are going to say, well, sparring, okay, but you still got to answer if I belong here with these guys. Mm-hmm. How'd you fare, and how do you see yourself on that level, talent-wise?
I rate myself on the same scales as they are. I'm just as good as they are, if not better.
Right.
And we're always improving and always working and always sharpening our skills. I feel just like any of those top names, I'll be there soon enough.
Yeah. And now, was it in Nationals you fought Bruce?
No, I fought Shushu in the Golden Glove Finals.
In the Golden Gloves Finals?
Yeah.
Pretty close fight.
Yeah.
No disrespect to him. I mean, great fighter. It was a close fight. Some thought you won.
Yeah, a lot of people thought I won.
A lot of people thought you won. I saw boxing. That. It is boxing. It's definitely. You would take that fight today.
Definitely. If it was worthwhile, we would definitely take the fight.
Whose style do you feel that maybe works against you right now?
I don't feel like any style. I feel like at this point in time, we're able to adapt to pretty much anything.
Now, your style has changed a little bit from when I first met you and your dad. You were younger. You're filling into your body right now. You're growing. You're becoming stronger. Becoming more of a well-rounded fighter. What can we expect in your next two fights? What's your game plan? Let's put the next fight. Forget about next two. Let's talk about May 11th. What is your game plan here? I mean, you're under a new promotion, fighting in a nice casino where there'll be a nice crowd. Is there a little anxiety to perform? Are you looking to really show out here? What's going through your head now? Or is it just training as usual?
A little bit of both. A little bit of training as usual, and a bit of showing out. I definitely want to show out, put on a great performance, and show my new promoters what I bring to the table.
Yeah. So is there anything you're working on you want to kind of put out there right now that, or is it just we're working on basically everything? I know you're working on an opponent right now, so it's kind of hard to say, hey, we're going to go in with this style against this opponent because of the tape we see and everything else. But what is it that you're kind of working on in the gym right now?
We're pretty much working on everything. Anything the opponent brings to the table, looking as far as how to counter this or that, this style with this style. Pretty much just using my jab, keeping my distance. Well, no, not so much my distance, but knowing my range to the best of my ability, and pretty much just outworking my opponent.
You're a pretty humble kid. Well, very humble kid. I shouldn't even say pretty humble kid. Sort of a very blue-collar fighter. Just guy straps it up, goes to work, does his work, come in. You're a local guy out of Yonkers. In the gym, you got to be inspiring some of these young fighters out there, because you're a local story. You're a real story, you're working for everything you have right now. Those wins you worked for, I know your dad was involved. You guys did it on your own. Nobody was out there handing you fights. You guys made it happen. You worked very hard to get to where you are now. It's got to be an inspiration to everybody around the gym. What kind of role model do you think you are and you're going to be as a fighter growing as you get more fights and grow into your professional career?
Honestly, first on, I didn't think so much on that aspect of a role model until, we started going around to, other gyms for sparring and stuff like that, and then little kids would come up to us like, oh, my gosh, it's Iman Lee. He just fought this and this person, this and this person. He just won this tournament. Can I get a picture? Can I get an autograph? Oh, and stuff like that. I didn't think I had kind of that much pull until recently. So I feel like I'm a pretty good role model, and
yeah,
I've been doing what I need to do as far as the sport of boxing. It was very tough for us early on in the pro career, but we've been doing what we need to do.
Yeah, listen, you're taking the hard route as opposed to some other guys in the area. And, for people who really don't know you or haven't seen you fight, okay, it's a wonder why the hard route had to come this way for you, because, maybe that was your destiny to just kind of build up your career a little bit, show what you can do, and, but, it's not an easy route right now for you. How did you navigate through that? I mean, is there times that, look, every fighter, did you know you wanted to keep pushing, or frustration comes in, maybe weren't getting the right fights or enough fights, or I know your dad works really hard behind the scenes with you and his support. How was your support system through all of this stuff?
Support system was pretty good, really good. My dad just kept telling me to stay focused, stay in the gym, be patient, just continue doing what we need to do, especially when fights keep falling out, or we're waiting for this deal or waiting for this person to get back. It was just, at the end of the day, keep doing what we need to, and eventually we'll get to where we need to.
Right. Now, we'll flip back to your work to, you work as a mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
What's the response from your coworkers? I mean, and here you are coming back into work after doing your workout, do your job, go back and do this. That's got to be motivating to guys next to you. Mm-hmm. That's got to be like, all right, this guy is doing, his job and then some. I mean, are they supportive of you and your career?
Yeah, they're very supportive. Every day they see my videos and stuff on social media, and they're always like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you go to the gym twice a day, get up and still come to work, and then doing what I do at work.
Yeah.
it's just like mind blowing to them.
Yeah. No, it's listen, you know, we talk about this with every fighter. Every fighter, it's a, you know, there's a lot of challenges to being a fighter. It's not, you know, people see the end result for the fighters on pay-per-view and they think automatically, oh, they were just put there, you know, by accident. And but what else, if you weren't fighting, what would you do? What is it that, you know?
I'd probably, well, my first love before boxing was basketball, so I'd probably be playing basketball. Maybe try D1, D2 colleges, maybe play overseas. Or also
Did you play at Roosevelt?
I tried, but it never.
Because of
panned out.
boxing?
Yeah, because of boxing.
Not because they had a basketball team.
Yeah, I made the team. The coach always told me I made the team, but I just never was able to really play and go to practice and everything because of boxing.
Because of boxing.
Yeah.
Because you were always going to tournaments or you had training. Your weight class. You have trouble cutting weight?
No, not really. No.
How do you keep it with working and with training? I mean, you're comfortably at 26, but you fought up to 30, 130. Where's your sweet spot? Where do you see yourself being at? I mean, 35, 40 eventually, or?
Eventually, I'm still growing. Yeah. So I probably would be at 35, 40, 47 maybe. So we're still growing, and yeah. So I see myself up there soon enough.
So maintaining right now?
Maintaining hasn't really been an issue. I'm not too far above weight walking around.
What do you walk at? 5 over? A little more?
Probably like 40.
Right. Yeah. So what's your cut usually?
Usually like 10 pounds. It's just usually when I start eating better, the weight just comes right down. Eating better than going to the gym a lot more.
So you're able to, I mean, what's your height and able to cut it down like that? So, I mean, with work, that's got to be tough. You got to be disciplined right there.
Yeah, I can't be eating snacks and stuff all day at work and eating the stuff that my coworkers bring. I got to make sure I stick to my diet and eating.
So you're bringing your stuff in, maintaining. Besides the boxing end of it, on your support level, who's working with you now? Anyone with nutrition? Anybody with your recovery, or you're just kind of you and your team kind of just putting it together right now for yourself?
That's pretty much it. Just me and my team.
Just you and your team putting it together right now.
Yeah.
With your recovery right now, the importance of that. What are you utilizing out there?
We do the sauna. We do the steam room.
Okay.
We do the pink Himalayan salt room, the massage area. Cairo.
No ice baths?
Cairo. Make up for the ice bath. And that's pretty much it for the most part.
Okay. I know you're training down most of your training. You know, you've been in a lot of gyms in New York, but now you're home with Champs in Nurshell, Ryan O'Leary's gym. A lot of good people out of there, Ryan. Shout out to Ryan O'Leary, good man. Some of the work there that's coming through, challenging you? Trying to see if people, you know, you're pretty hot right now. You're 9-0. You know, we know what happens in the gym. Everybody walks with a little swagger. They want to, you know, test everybody out.
I wouldn't say so much challenging. I would say different looks and different styles and different experiences. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I wouldn't say any particularly sparring partners would be challenging. Right.
Now, you guys, you're not using the same people over and over all the time. You're trying to find as much work, which is challenging in its own at times, especially, you know, some guys might not want to work with you after you work with them. They might feel that you're either too much or, you know, putting a little bit too much pressure on them. As you move here, has there been any interest from any other people about putting you into camp with anybody? Any calls, anything?
Yeah, we definitely had a bunch of calls before. when Teofimo was in camp. I forgot who he fought. I think he fought Loma. No, I'm not too sure who he fought, but we got a call from Teofimo's camp to join them. We definitely got a call from Haney's camp during this recent fight to go out to Vegas. But yeah.
Is that because of now it didn't work for you with those opportunities with work, or was it just not something at that time that you were looking to do?
Definitely the scheduling with work. Also, I had a hyperextension on my left arm, so we had took some time off.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't make sense to go into camp and not be in shape.
And not be able to perform at the
high level that we need to. Yeah.
That you need to, because look, you want to, even though you're getting them ready for a fight, you want to be able to perform yourself, mm-hmm. right? So, coming up now, you've been pretty much a free agent for a while. A lot of talk with a lot of different people. Are you feeling a little more at ease now that you're under a promotional company? Does it make you feel like, okay, I got one part of my career set right now. I'm ready to step on the gas. Just put the fights in front of me and let's go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how it's been. So I feel you let me know what date, give me an opponent, and I'm just ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, I think, there's going to be a lot of good opportunities for you to really kind of show out, in this area and show some of the skills that you have. What about fighting locally?
Fighting locally, that would be great. The hometown, come out, see me perform, do what I do. That would be great.
Now, closest you've been, you fought in New York, fought in Connecticut, right, in Stanford on big fan base, right, in the local area, a lot of support there to come in. How does it feel to step in with, all those eyes on you?
I try not to pay too much attention to the outside crowd. I try to just pay attention to hearing my coach's voices while I'm fighting and just paying attention to what I need to do. At first, it was like I felt it a little bit. I felt the lights, the heat from the lights, and then the people cheering for me and stuff like that. At first, I felt it, but then at the end of the day, I knew I needed to stay focused and then just primarily just focus on the fight. Yeah.
So, that is definitely, something that fighters need to grow into. The first couple of events, you're fighting into people, and, you have to adjust to, handling yourself, kind of zoning out, listening to, you got the crowd yelling, you got your coaches yelling, people screaming. You're trying to stay focused with the plan of what was set for you in the beginning there. But I want to touch a little bit about your training and your dynamic with your dad and your family. Now, your grandfather is also a big part of your team and brings a lot of experience to the table with your dad. Compare it out there to other teams. How do you see it? What parts is everybody playing there? You got your dad, you got your grandfather, you got your dad, now we got you. So we got 3 generations out there in the corner, all with experience trying to have a voice. You get out of control sometimes?
Sometimes, especially with Grandpa, because Grandpa, he's old school.
Right.
So when he wants something done the way he wants it, he'll kind of like make it known a little bit, like, I want you to do this, or you should be doing this. And sometimes he doesn't see that I got to set it up a certain way, or give me a second, and I'll put it into play. Sometimes Grandpa, when he yells something, he wants it done right then and there. So sometimes we kind of bump heads, and it's a lot easier working with just me and my dad, because my dad, he understands me more because we're in the gym a lot more from the beginning.
Yeah, but your father's an easygoing guy. I don't know your grandfather too well. I met him, I'm in the gym with you, nice gentleman. not on the end that you know him as coaching. And your dad has a very soft spoken touch of the way he coaches you to get his point across. He's not a yeller. He's not screaming. You know,
yeah, Grandpa's like the opposite. Grandpa, he'll yell, he'll scream. When he wants something, he'll make it known.
So during the fight, we're gonna hear Grandpa coming up there, and he's gonna be like, he's gonna take over.
Yeah, you might. We've been talking to Grandpa like you gotta, when you want something known, just let me know in the corner, and just talk to us, and then I'll put it into play.
Do you think because maybe you said he is definitely old school, he's been around a lot of fighters, and is it maybe the game's changing a little bit?
Yeah, I don't think he knows that aspect as far as the game, because it's not how it used to be.
Right.
He's been around a long time.
Right.
So,
and he goes back to to Custom Auto Camp and Catskill. We go way back, right? Way back. So they were running in boots over there then in those days, and but that brings a different look to you, don't you think? Doesn't that bring that, like, so you have him with his dynamic, your dad who was a high level amateur, he was in there with a lot of top fighters. Now you have yourself. It is a little tough balance there. Do you think your style goes with both of them, or are you starting to find yourself in dictating the style?
I'm starting to find my own style, but I'm also incorporating everything that they show me as far as Grandpa's style, because Grandpa's like real old school. He knows certain nicks and tricks that we may not use today or may not still see today. So I definitely learned and picked up a lot from Grandpa. And then Dad, learned a lot from Dad, always.
Yeah. Well, he's a student of the game. He's out there watching everything. And, back a little bit through your career prior to being pro here, give me some tough fights you had. As an amateur. Yeah, give me some tough fights.
We fought Shu, Golden Glove Finals. We fought Armando Vargas in the Nationals of, I believe, the Eastern qualifiers. Who else? We fought Ofacio about 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, he's fighting on that card June 6th, too.
I seen that card is flooded. Who else?
Now, would you fight in the gloves? Once or twice in New York?
Once. And then COVID came.
Right. So
I fought once, and then I had ended up going to school. And then when I came back after a year, COVID came.
Yeah. So you fought Shushu in the finals that year. COVID. What did you do during COVID now? Now, you're coming, people around the country, no disrespect to Golden Gloves anywhere else, but New York is the place. I mean, you win the gloves in New York City, and I'm not disrespecting any other state by no means. I'm a little biased. Whether you turn pro or not, you could walk around and say, I won the gloves. But getting to the finals alone is a challenge.
Yeah.
Like you're fighting tough fights to get to the finals, and then you got to fight a tougher fight to win. So you're coming out the gloves hot as a pistol, fighting number 1 prospect. He's with Top Rank now. He'll be headlining that card June 6th at the Garden. Good fighter. How do you go from that, 100 miles an hour, now I got to put the brakes on, to my career? Boxing shut down at every level, pretty much, except little pro shows that are nobody in the arenas, but the whole amateur game shut down. What are you doing during that time to stay sharp?
Just training, just staying in the gym, training, and that was it. Pretty much, just staying focused, just continue training while everything was going on, and then we just had to wait. That's what it was.
You think the momentum COVID kind of hurt your momentum?
A little bit, yeah. I feel like it hurt everyone as far as in the boxing aspect.
Yeah, listen, the whole world, everything, we can go down the line on that situation with COVID. So now you pick it back up. at this point, okay, you're still an amateur. When was the decision to become pro? Like, you're fighting as an amateur. You got a ton of amateur fights. When did you guys sit down and say, okay, this is the direction we're going to go in now? Were you trying to push it, or was Dad trying to say, okay, let's bring it along at the right time?
Well, we didn't see any point in staying amateur at a certain point. After like when we started to be able to fight again, we didn't see any point to stay amateur. It was nothing there for us. The Olympics was pushed back. All the qualifying tournaments were pushed back. So we were just like, all right, we'll just turn pro, and just work our way up from there.
Where was your first fight again?
I believe it was in Atlanta.
You remember who you fought?
I think his name was Juan Bryan or something like that. Yeah.
How was that? Now you got your date, your first pro, and you know it's not in your hometown. It's not in the area of where you're used to. You got to go into enemy territory to fight. Your first. Walk me through that. How are you feeling, and how much preparation did you have for that fight?
We had a lot of preparation.
Right.
I kind of think I may have overtrained, being so antsy and not knowing what to expect. I mean, it was my first pro fight, so I was really nervous. And then we got to the venue and stuff like that. We did the face-off. Not something really used to, because, in amateurs, we just...
Now you know it's real.
Yeah.
You weighed in, and now you know it's real.
Mm-hmm. And then we do the face-offs, and then, the next day we're fighting. It was a game changer. It definitely an experience, one to be had. So
yeah. So now you got your feet in the pond already. Now you're getting more fights now. And is the preparation getting easier for you? Are you learning yourself now? Where in a sense, I know what to do. I know how to prepare. I know how to balance, because again, you're working. We keep going back to that. You're not. Boxing is not your life right now 100%, where you just can dedicate it to that. You have to balance your life out. Mm-hmm. So are you still trying to figure yourself out at that point? And when do you, at 9 fights now, do you feel more comfortable?
Yeah, I definitely feel more comfortable. We're always still figuring myself out.
Right. As a fighter, we're always growing.
Yeah,
I get that. But, as far as you get a fight date, sit down with your team. Look, you like to have enough time. You like to have 8 weeks, if you can, 6 weeks. We know that's not always the case. But for someone like you, you're a gym rat. You're in the gym no matter what. So even for the right fight, you probably could take on a couple of weeks' notice, and you're in shape if you could sharpen up if the fight made sense for you. But, going through right now, you're finding yourself that your preparation is becoming a little easier for you as you go along right now, or are you finding it a little tougher because now you're training harder, you're training longer, you're working. So that recovery, do you feel as your career is going on, how do you feel with that right now as far as your preparation?
I would definitely say the preparation is getting harder. The workouts are getting way more intense. We're in the gym a lot longer. I'm working out a lot more. It's definitely getting tougher and tougher and tougher. But the level of competition is only going to get tougher and tougher and tougher. So we gotta make sure we're always prepared and always ready to withstand whatever comes at us.
Yeah. So what do you do in your downtime? Now, we know you're not. Every fighter is going to tell you, yeah, we're working hard, we're in the gym. But being in the gym 7 days a week, doing it 7 days a week, you need recovery. You need some downtime. What is your downtime like? What do you do when you got to decompress from boxing?
I'm either sleeping, probably going out with my dogs, playing Warzone, eating.
Right.
Going out, I probably say go-karting. I do a lot of paintball. We go paintballing a lot over at Liberty. And that's pretty much it. And just driving around, just hanging out.
Yeah, but pretty much boxing is what you do.
Yeah.
And, pretty good there. Let's go back to May 11th here. All right. We talked about it a little bit ago about you. You know, you definitely want to. You feel you want to show out here a little bit. As your fights are going on, your knockout ratio is becoming more. Mm-hmm. Oh, you looking for a knockout in this fight? I'm gonna put you on the spot, buddy. I'm gonna put you on the spot.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm not looking for a knockout, but if it comes,
it's in your head.
Then
is it talked about in camp?
Not really. Pretty much in camp, we pretty much just stick to the game plan, do what I need to do, and if I need to adjust, we make the adjustments. And if a knockout happens, then we end up going for it. That's pretty much it. I don't think we're ever just looking for a knockout.
Right.
So
going down the road, you know, I put you on the spot. I asked you. You didn't throw no names out at me.
Mm-hmm.
You were graciously evaded there. But, you know, in your division, throw the pin in the wall. I want to hear a name, man. I want to hear a name.
Whoever, I pretty much say whoever has the titles and it's in the way from us moving forward, I'd definitely love to fight you again when the time is right. Abdullah Mason, great fighter. Who else? Shakur's a great fighter. Would definitely, if he's still at that weight at the time, would definitely love to fight Shakur, Tank.
You work with Shakur at all?
No, never got a chance to.
As an amateur? No.
He was older than us, so
right.
I've seen him at a lot of the national tournaments.
Yeah, I figured maybe in that jersey. Who do you think as an amateur would gave you the toughest competition?
I'd probably say Adrian Benton. We fought Adrian Benton in Nevada. It was definitely an experience type of fight. Like it showed me certain levels as far as amateurs and certain fighters.
Yeah, high level.
Mm-hmm.
High level. Were you surprised at that point coming out of the New York area when you got to travel to these national tournaments and these high level tournaments? Did the level of competition surprise you?
It did. It did. Those, and especially with those guys being around a lot longer than I have. I was always fighting the guys there a lot longer than I have. A lot more fights, a lot more experience. So we were always the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
But when we went to those national tournaments, you can see and like kind of feel the difference of how everything was.
What do you think the difference right now that, you know, with the amount of amateur fights that you had to the pro game, what do you think the difference is that you see?
As far as amateurs and pros?
Yeah.
Pro, a lot more slow-paced. You can pick your shots a lot more, work when you want to work. It's not so much the 3 minutes, 3 rounds, you got to work. Got to keep throwing punches and bunches. And pros, I feel like it's a lot more easier, a lot more laid back. And I can just do what I want when I want it.
Did you have a tough time adjusting in the beginning from amateur to pro?
I don't think so.
Making the transition?
I don't think so because my style was always kind of like a
pro style.
You have a pro
style. Yeah, your build. For people who don't know you, people that do, you definitely, I would agree, you have a pro style across the board there with that. And the amount of amateur fights, I have my opinions about that. 80 amateur fights, it's a lot of fights, 100 fights. If you were going to do it again as an amateur or coaching, is that the route you go?
I'd probably have more. I'd probably go to every national tournament I could possibly can and get as much fights as I possibly can. Pretty much amateurs, pretty much just getting experience. That's what it was. So I would definitely.
I agree with you on one thing that you just said, the national tournaments. Mm-hmm. I think as an amateur, once you realize that you can compete at that level and there's a future for you in boxing, I think you definitely target the higher level tournaments. And, locally, you're fighting a lot of guys over and over. And it's, just to try to keep busy on the local shows. But I think the experience comes in those national tournaments, under the lights, against the best of the best, and you can answer the question, do I belong here, and do I have a future in this? I'm not a big advocate of a lot of fights, especially as a young kid, because, quality over quantity is what I kind of think, because if you have 30 good amateur fights as opposed to 100 amateur fights where maybe, 10 or 20 of them are really good, you're not really progressing there.
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So that's my opinion. I know everybody has their own, but you know what? Sometimes you got to fight guys to gather that experience, not only being in the ring, working on your craft. If you're moving up in weight, there's adjustments. I get it. I totally get it. Do you see yourself as a coach someday?
Maybe, yeah. I can see myself as a coach.
I mean, with all this experience, if God willing, you have a great career and everything. If you walk away from boxing, what is it that you think you would want to be doing?
There's a lot of things I would want to be doing. I'm really big on cars. I'd love to build cars and race cars on the track. I definitely do think coaching. I'd definitely still be around boxing, coaching all the time, coaching fighters.
With all your experience, right, your family history and everything, and in the sport of boxing, family history today, it's just not, to see 3 generations in a corner, you don't see that every day.
No, you don't.
You're not going to see it down the road either, too much. I mean, a lot of kids today, boxing, they try it, they don't stay with it for whatever reason, or their parents are not pushing it, or, the popularity we're losing is where it was years ago. You got a lot to give, a lot of knowledge to put out there. If you were a coach, what do you think? Give me some of your strengths. Besides your knowledge and your experience, what have you learned right now? Like if we said to you tomorrow, Iman, you're coaching. You're going to work with those 2 kids over there. What do you think you bring to the table? Besides your experience, how are you going to relate to your fighter?
I feel like I'm easy. I'm like an easy person to get along with. So I feel like working with another fighter, bringing up my own fighter, it'd be pretty easy. Just, I don't know. I don't want to say pretty easy because it's work. It's hard work building a fighter. I'm not even gonna lie, because my dad had a tough time building us up.
Listen, coaching and the fighters are not the easiest people along.
Yeah.
You guys. No offense, man. Fighters are hard to work with at any level, whether you're an amateur or pro, whatever it is. Getting somebody ready for a fight. Now, we'll go to that. Okay, you've been doing most of your camps at home, right? You go home, you sleep, you're in your own bed. You're not away in camp. It's not you, dad, and grandpa, and whoever else you're gonna have in camp, right? Now, put that together where 8 weeks that they're gonna come. All right, Iman, it's time. Whatever you got to take off of work or whatever, you get your leave and everything. We're going to camp. Well, you know what? We're gonna post up somewhere, and you got 8 weeks sitting in a room together with everybody else. You think that's an easy time?
No. I don't think it. I think I'm saying easy as far as in my own shoes.
Yeah.
But if I was in someone else's shoes and coaching a fighter, I don't think it would be that easy.
So in the gyms right now, right, you got all these young kids coming. I know at Champs they got a lot of young kids running around over there. You got kids running up to you. They asking for help?
Yeah, all the time.
They asking for advice?
All the time.
What do you tell them? What do you tell them? Play golf?
Nah.
That's what I tell them.
I try to help them as best as I can, especially when I watch them sparring and stuff like that and seeing areas that they're doing wrong. So I'm like, all right, I see you doing this wrong. Use your jab, use your footwork, move your body. Try not to be too stiff, be loose, be calm, take your time. You got rounds to work.
You feel yourself as a role model?
I do.
How important is that to you?
It was really important. It's a big deal to me.
So if you had to tell your story, and I know you're a humble guy. I know you're very quiet. You're a hardworking man. If you had to sit down and tell your story to a bunch of kids, what's the story we're going to hear? What's the message? What's the message you're going to bring?
Grew up out of Yonkers. Very, very tough area. Parents both working to raise me and my younger brother and my sister and my other brother. We never really had as much as other people, but we always had what we needed to get to where we needed to go, and we always had food and a roof and stuff over our head. It wasn't always easy, but it wasn't always tough. I'd say I don't really know.
Yeah.
I know what I got to say in my head, but
you can tell the
really
story. Look, for people, again, outside the tri-state area, Yonkers, big city, tough spot growing up. A lot of competition in the city. A lot of spots off that. Yep, working class people. I get it. I totally get it, and a lot of people don't understand what not only parents that are raising kids have to do every day, but let alone being fighters. When you were a kid, was there a time you want to tell your father, Pop, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this no more, Pop?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. How do you think he would react? If you told Dad, say, listen, Pop, I don't want to do this.
I feel like...
Would he say, okay? Would he try to talk you off the ledge? Would he be like, you got to make a decision?
No, knowing my dad, he'd say okay, and he's fine with that. But I feel like he'd be like, man. Like, I feel like he'd be disappointed, and like he'd wish I'd stuck with it, pretty much. But I don't think he would try to force me to do something I wouldn't want to do. Me knowing him, I know he'd just be like, all right, that's fine.
Do you think that comes from what he experienced as a fighter growing up?
Yeah, or what he went through as a young adult and child.
Yeah. Yeah, because he had some skills, right? I mean, we going to see him in the ring soon?
Him in the ring as far as pro or
I don't know, something.
Working with me?
No. Working with you, we know he's working with you.
Yeah, he works with me every now and then. See him in the ring as pro? I doubt it. I know he's older now.
Yeah.
Body doesn't function the same as
do you think his experience in seeing him through his career has helped you with yours, as far as, it's a tough road at every level of boxing, we see, but you saw it firsthand in your family. You've seen it with your grandfather also at another level. Do you think that's what kind of keeps you grounded and keeps you focused to understand the reality of the sport?
Yeah. Sport is you don't play boxing.
No.
You take it serious.
No, we don't play boxing, and look, at every level of this sport, it challenges us. Not only as coaches, as fighters, there are days, like I tell people, I don't want to. Why am I doing this? And then something else happens, and then you're back in the gym, and you got a spark, and you're ready to go again, and it takes back over, and it all clicks back in. But again, everybody sees the fights that are on TV. Everybody's seen Devin Haney and Garcia and all the people in the stands. They don't realize what those guys had to do to get there. That's the culmination of many years of hard work, skill, all coming together in one night. We can all attest to stories of fighters. There are guys in the gym that are good fighters. They may not be pro, or they're not being active enough as a pro, or they might not have the right opportunities to take their career to whatever, but they're still out there doing it. Boxing, it's a tough road. So, going forward for you, your maintenance of this sport, being a role model, being important, do you feel you have the city of Yonkers behind you?
I'd say I have a lot of the city of Yonkers behind me. I wouldn't say the full city yet, but in due time we will.
You're not a big social media guy. Yeah, you're not. And is that by choice, or is that because you're just busy, or that's your personality?
I think it's just my personality. I've never been big on social media. I never really had a care for it.
But as this sport is evolving, we know, and I haven't been either. And look, I'm doing this now, and this is definitely out of my comfort level. But do you feel that's going to be an important part to your career that you're going to have to address at some point and say, hey?
Yeah.
Or are you going to just kind of be that guy that just comes in, knocks people out, and that's it?
No, it's definitely a big, important part of my career, and I have been playing my part as far as that aspect, as far as posting a lot more,
right?
Going to the fights, meeting a lot of other people, showing face. I've been doing so a lot more. I know it's a big key in this part of boxing nowadays.
Yeah, especially right now with, some of the people you've worked with, some of the people, you've been around and you're in the gym with these guys and you're holding your own and you're getting respect of the boxing community. The hardcore boxing people know who you are. Eventually the fans will. This is part of the game and part of, I guess, bringing you to the other level and helping you with your career, right? Yeah. So with that, if we had to find you on social media and you're not a big social media guy, where can we find you? Tell us where, we're looking for Iman Lee. Where is he at? Are you on Instagram? Are you on Facebook? What's your social stuff? So
yeah, I'm mostly on Instagram. My name is Iman__who with 2 O's, and my Facebook is Iman_the boxer.
All right, so we don't have a nickname for Iman yet. He does not have a nickname, okay? And I'd like people to comment who know Iman or who doesn't, maybe take a look at his fights. I'd like to come up with a nickname for you. I'd like to see what people put out there for you and see what kind of nickname we can come up with. I mean, you're 9-0, man. You got to have something.
Something, right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, does your father call you anything else in the ring besides Iman?
No.
Okay, man. All right. This is something we got to work on right there. So you are fighting May 11th, Bally's Twin River Casino on the CS promotion. Jimmy Birchfield will be his first fight with this promotional company. You can where can we get tickets? Tell people.
We have tickets on hand.
Okay, so you know what? You could either make a comment to me, drop me a line for tickets. We are going to give 4 tickets away to this event, but you need to drop a comment, like, and share this episode, and we were going to drop 4 tickets to somebody for this event. You can hit Iman on his social media for it. Look for him in the future. Young, very exciting fighter who's coming up in the ranks here. Excited to see his career take off. Now, I kind of go at the end of this, I ask a couple of questions of everybody. The first question that I ask is, if you were going to be in a foxhole, who's that person that's going to be next to you? Doesn't matter. Dead, alive, it don't matter. You could pick whoever it is. But you're going in a foxhole to fight. Who's that guy next to you?
My brother.
Okay. Is that the one in the military now? All right. Yes. All right. Shout out to that. And we are very happy and thankful for his service. 3 dinner guests. You get 3 people, dead or alive, you want to have dinner with, you want to have a conversation, you want to speak to. Who are they?
My dad, my mom, my brother.
Okay. You heard it right there. So, once again, I thank everybody. Want to shout out a couple of sponsors. My girl at Drink to Shrink. Go on and check her social media at Drink to Shrink for a great detox. You want to lose a couple of weight. It's great for the fighters. It's great for people. It's all natural, no caffeine, no nothing like that. My guy at Get Elevated Apparel, we appreciate you guys right there. Check them out. Some nice shirts and everything. And we'll catch everybody on Coach's Corner again. Thank you.